Yo, what's up, everybody? This is H2G TV with Edgar Burgos. Oh man, yesterday we had a great guest, it's Samir Hernandez, but today, we got another great guest, somebody who I call a friend, somebody who, that I met, in the streetball scene and actually became like, somebody I looked up to, and I loved his passion for basketball. My man Corey Homicide Williams. What's up, Corey?
What's good, my brother? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I can't complain, man. Just trying to make it out here in New York City.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
We all, man?
How's Australia like?
Oh, where do I start? Australia's great. Besides the fact that we're in a pandemic, obviously the world is in it. My state and city is on complete lockdown. So let me break it down for people who don't really know. Australia is made up of 8 states. 7 of the states are good to go. The 8th state, which is the state of Victoria, the city of Melbourne is in Victoria. I'm in Melbourne and we are on lockdown. We have curfew. Only essential things are open. You are only able to do the essentials. Go to the supermarket, go to the hospital, go to the doctor, go to the post office, things like that. Anything else is locked down. Stores locked. Curfew is at 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. So we're pretty much inside. We go out to work out one hour out of the day, and that's it.
Yeah,
we're masked at all times, outdoors, and that's it.
You adjusting?
Yeah, I think the resilience of a New Yorker, we know how to adjust well. There's nothing you could really throw at us that we can't really adjust to. You know what I mean? So that's the one thing that I love about being from New York, especially being from the Bronx. You know what I mean? You got to be flexible. You got to be open. You got to know how to move.
Yeah, so one of the things, obviously I brought you on because you have an incredible story. Bronx kid, been all around the world, and your passion for basketball has given you, a major gift where today you're actually one of the top, for me, the top analyst in Australia. So in the NBL. So, I want to just circle back and take it back to, your high school days when you started playing ball and the whole process of when you went, to Alabama and stuff like that. So I want to say, what made you, fall in love with basketball?
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate the praises. You have been in the game for many, many years. You are one of the people who knew me during the streetball days. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people who do not know the journey, and you covered me. Remember when we did summer ball? That still to this day is one of my best interviews. Like I watched it sometimes, this year.
I will play that clip for you in a little while.
And it was just like, wow, look at this young dude. And he was just so hungry and unapologetic at the way he went about his business. And, it was just really about like he wanted to be the best person and best player and professional he could be. And, I had to go the unconventional route. And I was happy to do it. I wore it with a badge of honor, and it got me to where I am today. And it got me further than I actually thought and more. But to back up, in high school, what made me fall in love in basketball is it's New York, man. That's the Mecca. One thing we do extremely well is we know how to hoop. We know how to get fresh. We are culture. We create these things that has a ripple effect globally. We know how to talk. We got all the style. You know what I'm saying? So if you are a ball player, it also helps, I think, as a young man of color. It gives you confidence. It helps you develop. It gives you a lot of self-esteem and confidence. And coming from, the inner city, and I'm no stranger to struggle and humble beginnings. It helped me with my development a lot. I wasn't a cool kid growing up. I wasn't the flyest kid growing up. I didn't come from money. But if you know how to play ball and you played basketball, not even if you were good, but if you were good enough to make respectable teams, like I went to Rice, that was one of the best high schools in the country, and I started playing. So that school in itself gave me like confidence. Being in Harlem gave me confidence. You know, they used to be like, yo, like this dude is from the Bronx, but he got Harlem swagger. Like that to me was the best because, you know, till this day, we see the memes that go around about the Bronx. Like the Bronx is the wackest borough, the dirtiest borough. You know what I mean? So I had like, I think the best of both worlds growing up. You know what I mean? Coming from the Bronx, playing ball, hanging out in Harlem and being exposed to Harlem. It helped me so much in my development on and off the court.
Yeah, you went to one of the top programs, high school programs in Rice. How was that experience?
I mean, it was incredible. You know, I went in as a project. I didn't go in to play ball. I did not go in there on a basketball scholarship like majority of the ball players. I went for disciplinarian reasons. My mother begged the dean to let her son in because junior high school, my grades were bad. And it wasn't because I wasn't able to do the work and handle the curriculum. It was just more, you know, I was a class clown. And again, you know, you do certain things to try to get attention of the cool kids or for the girls to like you. You know what I mean? If you're a class clown, you know, people like people they can laugh at and joke with or joke at. It's easier to be around these people. So I needed, I felt at the time that was how I could get, become friends with these people and be accepted. So it ultimately affected my grades. Obviously, that was the wrong thing to do. But once I got to Rice, my grades were bad. The dean said, academically, this young man will not be able to handle a curriculum. My mother begged the dean, paid her tuition for her son to get there, and begged the dean and said, please let my son get into this school. And the dean said, okay, no problem. We'll put him on academic probation the first half of the semester, and we will reevaluate him then. If he's good to go, he stays. If he can't, we got to get him out of here. She said, no problem. And I had a 3.0 GPA ever since. So it was not about me not able to handle the curriculum academic wise. It was just a young man that needed discipline, a young boy who needed discipline. Plus, I wanted to play basketball at this school. I didn't know it was the #1 school in the nation. You know what I'm saying? And then once I found the great Felipe Lopez, Reggie Freeman, Gary Saunders, all of these high school greats, these ball playing greats going to this school, I was like, wow, okay. Well, if you want to play ball, your grades got to be right. Now I found something that I'm extremely passionate about and something that I really want to do and get better at. How can I not be disciplined? Because how can I not be disciplined if I want to do this? Accountability breeds responsibility. I have to be held accountable for my grades. You know what I mean? So, you know, it all went hand in hand. Plus, I want to be a part of this incredible brotherhood. Rice High School. Let me tell people about Rice High School, right? It's the best institution in New York City. It's all boys. It's in the smack dab in the middle of all the culture in Harlem, right? Some of the greats went to that school on and off the court, right? To have, it's ultimate confidence you exude once you go to this school. I never went to a high major university. I went to Alabama State, a HBCU, not the University of Alabama. So the guys that the brotherhood, I never understood that guys had at Duke University. You know what I mean? At Harvard, at Yale, at Princeton, at North Carolina. We had the same brotherhood at Rice High School. I don't care if you graduated right now. You're my brother. Whatever you need, I got you. The love and the respect that we all have, and we all carried each other on that level. It exuded confidence. If it was not for Rice High School, I would not be the man I am today. The foundation that place set for me, unbelievable. And there's not an individual that went to Rice that wouldn't say the same thing.
So two of the greats that you've played with, Reggie Freeman and Felipe Lopez. Can you talk about the impact they had on your life while you're in high school and you're playing? And obviously Felipe, he went to Rice and he was this mega star. Like he was LeBron before LeBron as far as popularity. So can you talk like that experience and type of mentorship they had for you?
Well, here's the thing. I never played with them, although I was in the same school with them. I was, again, a project. I was pretty much like a development player. These guys played varsity all 4 years. I played freshman. I played JV. The last 2 years, if you're good enough, you should play varsity for your junior and senior year. We had so many ball players at Rice, they had a varsity B team. So my junior year, I had to play varsity B. My junior year was their senior year. So when I played varsity A my senior year, they were gone. So I watched them, these great ones. And that was just more logs in the fire. That was just more fuel in my fire for me to like look at these guys and say, this is where you want to be, and you're not there. You got to work harder. You know what I'm saying? So, but what they did for me was motivate me. Here you got Reggie Freeman, a BX legend. You know what I'm saying? International basketball legend. His jersey's hung up in Europe, in Serbia. Reggie Freeman's jersey's hung up. So now this is a guy you got who went to the University of Texas and balled out and became an international star from the Bronx. It can be done. You know what I'm saying? Always kept it a buck, always kept it real. The same Reggie Freeman. How can I have nothing but love and respect for him? You know, then you got the LeBron before LeBron, the honorable king of Rice High School, Felipe Lopez. What I learned from those guys was to continue to be humble and always work your ass off. Because this guy, as you just said, the LeBron before LeBron, if he carried himself in those hallways as regular and as humble as you can see, as he is today, at the height of it all, he could have went pro out of high school. He just didn't because his mother wanted him to get an education. That's why he didn't go pro. How humble is that?
Yeah.
Nowadays, who mother could tell him anything? If you that hot, you can go pro. You like, shit, I get education. I don't care what you're saying. I'm going to get the money. He respected his mom so much. That's what he did. How humbling is that?
He got a lot of backlash.
Of course, he got a lot of backlash. But how could I, nowhere near his talent or skill, not be humble? You understand what I'm saying? You learn from these people. And I saw everybody come through those doors to go watch them practice every day. You name it, they came through there. NBA players came to watch this kid. Every college, I seen Bobby Knight for the first time, Rick Pitino for the first time. Shaq came through, Kobe came through, John Thompson. You name it, everybody. Coach K. Everybody came to watch this kid at Rice High School, that little school in Harlem. So it just gave me undeniable confidence and humility watching those guys.
So now you graduate high school and you pick Alabama State.
I went to junior college first.
Yeah, you went to junior college first.
Yeah.
And then after you had a good junior college career, that's when you
did.
finding your way.
Yeah.
And let's talk about like why after you started finding your way in junior college, why did you pick Alabama State?
I picked Alabama State. Again, I was a late bloomer, right? So a lot of times, a lot of the big names and big recruits, they get recruited early. So there's little to no spots available to sign, after the big recruits are gone. Now it's like, all right, who's left? Who's a JUCO can we get that's, a little experience ready to jump in right now. And I picked Alabama State because they recruited me heavy. And I wanted to go somewhere where I was wanted. I wanted to go somewhere where it was Division I. And the D1 offers that I had, it was Alabama State. It was Niagara University. And I wanted to go to a HBCU when it came down to it.
Yeah, why HBCU?
I picked the HBCU because of, funny enough, Bill Cosby in a different world. Bill Cosby depicted college, an all-black university, as Hillman University, which we know it was now depicted as Howard University. He just couldn't use that name. And I was just like, damn, this shit is dope. And I was like, yo, we could party, we could hang out. It's all black. That experience has to be dope. Look at a different world. Mm-hmm. So that's why I really leaned towards Alabama State. Plus, they wanted me to hoop. But I don't want to leave out a very important part. And this is to all these people who need to understand grind and hustle. And this is the biggest part of it. I knew going to junior college that I was not a big name. Nobody knew me. Wasn't no internet where you could throw up a 1-minute highlight tape and people start knowing you can go viral. Wasn't no internet back in those days. Social media, rather. What I did was grab, the preseason college book, Street Smith's, college preview for this upcoming season. They'll show the predictions, who's going to win the championship, who's going to be first team, all ACC, all Big East, whatever the case may be. I would grab that book, and I went through every Division I program. Let's say the Big East, right? The top 10 schools in the Big East, that's the conference. I would grab the addresses from each school that's in 7th to 10th place in every conference. And I would grab that because the big names are going to the big level schools. But if I can find a guy who plays the 2 position that's a senior, they need to recruit at that position. They're not that good, which means I could potentially step in, fill a void, and get playing time. I only got 2 years after JUCO, so I have to go somewhere where I feel I can make an immediate impact to play. Because remember, I have aspirations to go pro, to the NBA. I wrote letters. Usually you get letters written to you. I wrote the school. I got a template. Said, hey, how you doing, coach? Whatever his name is, fill in the name. I'm Corey Williams. I go to Penn Valley Community College in Kansas City. Here's the numbers that I'm averaging. I'm available if you are looking for a shooting guard. I sent out maybe 150 letters. Because if nobody knows you, how will they know you? They don't know you exist. How will they know you? So I said, look at it like this, right? You go to the club. If you stand there and talk to no females, right? You're not going to get no burn. Remember, I'm not a public figure where women are coming to me. I got to do the talking. I have to be the aggressor. I have to be proactive. So if I talk to 50 women, what are the chances of me landing a phone number? You get what I'm saying? I'm playing the odds like that because that's what I had to do. I knew who I was. A lot of people think they're more than what they are. And that's how they fall on their asses. Me, I knew exactly what I was, despite of how I felt about myself. I knew I had to hustle. I knew I had to be proactive. And that's what I did. And I got letters back. A lot of it was copy and paste. But my point was, leave no stone unturned.
Yeah, and then you graduate, and I think from what I know, you graduated in 2000. You fulfilled the promise to your mom.
Yep.
And now your whole life has been, you went everywhere after 2000.
Yeah.
And I just want to talk about like the whole passion that you had. Like you was gonna do whatever it takes to freaking make it. And what made you like take these steps? You've been to Venezuela, you've been to, Israel, Brazil, Australia, you won the MVP in Australia, 2014, 2013?
2010.
20, was it 2010?
2010.
Okay, 2010. So then, you went, you was in Lebanon? Yeah, so you've been everywhere. So what made you say, you know what? I'm going to do whatever it takes?
Well, first, when I went, 2 things I wanted to do. Wanted to graduate college. My mother said, I don't care what you do, graduate college. I said, okay. I said, Mom, I want to play pro. She said, I don't care. Just graduate college. You do what you want to do. Cool. The 2 degrees that I have is for her. Wasn't for me because I knew what I needed to do. There's no plan B, right? My mentality is just a plan A. I'm going all out to make this happen. I want to play professional. I want to play till I'm 40. That is the goal. Nothing will deter me from making this happen. I don't care where I have to go. I don't care if it's NBA or not. I am going to get paid to play a game that I love for the rest of my life until I can't play no more, till I'm 40. And then from there, I'll figure out life.
I mean, you played at, the United States Basketball League. I mean, you played in places where there was really no money. And for a lot of people that makes, I know some players who played in leagues and after a while they just stopped because they'll be like, I'm not making no money. Like, what made you say, you know what, I don't care? Because I know, like, in that situation, you're trying to figure out a way. All right, how can I make money? How can I live this type of life? How can I move around? What made you say, you know what, I'm gonna do this by any means necessary?
Well, everywhere I played, I made money. May not have been a huge amount of money, but I made money everywhere I played. And where I did not make a lot of money, whatever country, I had sneaker deals because of streetball, so it balanced it out. So that was the business aspect of what I knew and understood. See, the thing is, why streetball played such a huge part, which we'll get to, we might as well get to it right now. A lot of streetball players were not able to differentiate themselves as streetball players and professional basketball players. I was able to differentiate myself and be able to do both. I knew I could come down at Dykeman on 155th, drop 40, and just shoot only. But I knew that's homicide. But I also knew as Corey Williams, I had to be able to run a team and be a point guard, create for others, get everybody else involved, as well as score and win games to keep my job. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I was able to do both. I also knew how to talk shit and entertain. And for me to be able to give smaller sneaker companies opportunity to get exposure in the summertime and in my regular job as Corey Williams overseas, they're getting year-round exposure. Okay, they're getting one of the greatest street ball players of all time at his height, with cameras following him all over. They're getting that exposure, so that's grassroots exposure, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right, and we're seeding the product, doing what? Getting other street ball players, elite street ball players, or second-tier street ball players opportunity to rock the brand as well. So now this brand, an unknown name brand in our culture, is now doing what? Getting recognition. That's marketing. We pay for that. The company. Right. Then I'm going to play professional. They're getting liked in whatever country I'm playing in. That's marketing. We get paid for that. Most ball players didn't know it. I understood that. Hence me signing my signature sneaker deal with K1X. I was the only player overseas balling in his own shoe. You can buy it.
Was that a 6-figure deal?
No, it wasn't. It was a 5-figure deal. And I got royalties on my line. Nice. So it wasn't like, yo, here, I'm going to pay you. You rock the shit out of all this, blah, blah, blah. Nah, we did it right. You know what I'm saying? So you're getting royalties in your own shit. You got billboards all over the world. You're in Foot Locker Global. I got MVP of the league in my own shoe, balling in my own shoe. There's not a player that played overseas that could tell you that. You understand what I'm saying?
I definitely want to play this clip, this 2-minute clip from back in the days.
Yeah.
What's that? Hold on.
Corey Williams, a.k.a. C Murder, Homicide, 187, the Silver Surfer, a.k.a. the most hated player in New York City. This is my spotlight. When I destroy you, I give you everything I have in my arsenal. I'm gonna shoot a couple threes, the mid-range off the glass. Yes, you do know about that. And I'm gonna definitely take it to the basket in transition as well as in the half court. You might get a dunk or two. And I'm gonna hit my free throws. That's gonna equal to 30, 40, and if I'm really rolling, 50 plus. The difference is between me and a lot of guys, is I feel at least, is that if I get 30 in this tournament, it's not just this tournament I get 30. I get 30 in every way I go. I sweep the table. And I think that's the difference between me and a lot of guys. My best street ball memory, it had to be the Ron Artest game. Simply because he's the NBA Defensive Player of the Year. They brought him out there for me. For me. No one, that has never happened to anyone. We got to bring Ron Artest to stop Corey Williams? Come on, man, that's the best moment. And for me to finish that game with 26 and dunked and had to buy him, not on him, but buy him, 2 months from being named Defensive Player of the Year in the NBA. They had to send help for him. If the NBA Defensive Player of the Year couldn't stop me from doing what I do, there's no way a regular player in playground basketball could stop me. Period.
Homicide in the backcourt between the legs, shakes, bakes with the pill. A little Fred Flintstone shuffle. Homicide to the basket. Yes! Homicide! Corey Williams to the 10. Here comes K1X.
I got started in the streetball game. I graduated Alabama State University in 2000 and came from a small school. I didn't really have a big name, and I just thought and figured that I'm in the mecca of basketball, let alone street basketball in New York City, I had to get my name out there in the circuit. I just started playing everywhere. I was playing like 7, 8 tournaments, literally playing. It would be days I'd have 3 games in one day. And I would go and make it to all 3 of them. Like, I would do anything I possibly could to get a name. The summers prior to this summer, I was always the hunter. I had a list of players, whoever was hot at the time, that I was going around the city, going to find these players, play against them, and destroy them. That's the only way you can get real respect, is playing against another marquee player and outplaying them. I had to go at Charles Jones, Tyrone Evans, a.k.a. Hallie Moe, X-Ray Rivera, Kareem Reed. I didn't take them out, but I went at it. And I went through every player. Went through them.
Yeah, I remember that. You was everywhere. I was like, and you know, we were shooting summer ball, so we would shoot 4 or 5 tournaments in a day. And like, I felt like we would drive, and then all of a sudden you pull up. I was like, we just left them.
Yeah. I mean,
it helped put your name on a major map, and like you said, it helped you get the K1X deal. You know, and you figured it out early compared to like other street ball players. And I don't know, was that because of, you know, school? You had like mentors, like you was like, you know what, I'm gonna make something happen, because everyone's you had the K1X deal. You also had that band, the headband.
I had D-band. You know, one summer I was with Brand Jordan. Then after that, I got with Above the Rim. So the thing was, right, I knew I was not a street ball player. That was the platform that I needed to get exposure. You understand? That was the vehicle that I had to drive to get exposure. Once I graduated from college, I didn't have a big name or rep. It wasn't like I went to Duke and averaged 15, where agents are calling you. I was literally an unknown. So when you're an unknown, you can't sit back and be like, all right, my phone will ring. People gonna get at me. It wasn't that. So I had to be the aggressor. If I had to go get 30 at every tournament in 3 different times that day, that's what I had to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, my focus was just different. You know what I'm saying? And I knew that I needed playground basketball to drive that vehicle, to get the exposure. Hopefully, I was praying. It was a prayer. Living on a prayer, literally, every day. And that's why I played the way I played, because name a player before me that got an opportunity to the league, directly to training camp from the park.
Yeah.
You can't name one.
Was crazy. I was actually talking to a couple of kids the other day, and they playing tournaments, and they didn't believe, like, you know, we would talk about like the early 2000s, when I used to talk about like players getting paid to play in street ball, and they're like, that don't happen no more. And like, I just wanted to like throw like a tidbit for like back in the day when you was hot, like how much would you make during the summer?
Well, it was times where I could make like 1,000 a game. I make like 500-600 a game. And mind you, back in them days, remember, I was living in Denver. So that's when there's a lot of money on the street. You know what I mean? So you had a lot of drug dealers getting money, putting up their teams. You know what I'm saying? You had record labels putting money up, magazines putting money up. Like it was big business back then. So, you know, to be honest with you, I used to get flown up for my games at Rucker. They'd be like, look, here's your flight money. And here, when you touch down, we pay you. You know what I mean? So that's what it was. But I would do that. I would come up on like maybe like a Monday, and I would stay like 4 days. I would clean up like maybe like $3,000 for like 4 days of work. You know what I mean? So think about this. My name was hotter in the streets than it was in some countries I was playing in. So whatever I didn't make in overseas ball, I was making in the summer between the sneaker deal and what they paid me in the playground. So, I mean, it was a win regardless. You know what I mean? Like some people needed one specific pot of money and one stream of income. I had 3. Count your wins differently. You know what I mean? You got to recognize your win. You know, if I'm trying to get to a certain level, they're not going to pay you a lot of money if you're not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Why am I going to pay you a lot if you don't have a lot of experience at a high level?
Yeah.
Until I got the shot directly to Toronto, my money changed, my agent changed, situations changed. It's about the right opportunity at the right time, you know. And again, like I said, I knew I was going to play professional. What's professional? You get paid to do a job. Don't matter to me. Look, it does not matter to me. I did not make the NBA. Look at where I began.
Yeah, so that's a good actually. So when you did try it, because you tried out with Toronto, you tried out with the Pacers, you tried out with Golden State,
and Denver,
and
yeah,
Denver. So 4 NBA teams. I mean, just to get a tryout is hard, and that's a win. I don't care if you get cut or I don't care. It's a win. Like for you, like you know, you've been around being around these NBA guys, and they see, they heard about you, they heard about your hard work. How was that experience?
The first time it was awesome. Toronto was sick because of how I got there. You know what I'm saying? It was the game versus Ali Mo, God bless the dead, Big Strick, God bless the dead, J.R. Smith and Dante Jones. I had 45 on NBA TV at Rucker. This was NBA TV, the only tournament to ever be on NBA TV. That game went crazy. A mentor of mine, Tony Parker, knew Jim Todd, who was the assistant coach at Toronto at the time. He understood street ball culture. You know, he's from Boston, but he coached with Coach Couch at Columbia. So he understood. There's a lot of people who do not understand playground culture, where there's really a lot of talent in those playgrounds. Some guys that just won't make it, versus a coach that's not attached to New York City playground culture and think street ball is just and one. You know, you got to remember, and one marketed themselves as the greatest street ball players ever in the world. So that took off like wildfire. You know what I'm saying? That shit took off like wildfire. So if you don't know any better, you think street ball is and one. So I had to fight that stigma as well. So to go straight to Toronto, and I thought it was last cut. Mm-hmm. You know, there was a player who was a point guard, not to go too deep. There was 3 point guards, right? 3 free agent point guards. Myself, Robert Pack, T.A. Brown. They had Mike James. They had Jose Calderon. They had Alvin Williams. Alvin Williams was doubtful. They did not know if he didn't play the last year. They didn't know if he was going to play this upcoming season. So they brought us 3 in. If Alvin Williams, doctors say he can't play, one of these 3 is going to get that spot, that 3rd spot. By the time there might have been 3-4 games left in preseason, we played the Nets. I had 11 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. We went in overtime. They made cuts that night. So the next morning I go to practice. T.A. Brown cut, Robert Pack cut. I'm there. And literally it's on if Alvin Williams, doctors say he can't play. At the end of preseason, doctor said he's able to play. I get cut. I can live with that because I did not get cut based off of my ability not to. I was not able to perform at that level. I got cut because the doctor said he could play. He got like 15 million left on his deal. What can I do about that? Can't do anything. Yeah, you know. So then I went on the circuit from there. I went to the minor leagues. You know, I went to the CBA. That's when the CBA was still popping. Led that in triple doubles. Then I go to camp, summer league, mini camp with Boston. Then I go to summer league with Indiana. Then I go to training camp again that following year with Denver. That's when Denver was stacked. Canby, Mello, DeMar Johnson, Kenyon, Dre Miller. Like they had a crew. They lost to Kobe to go to the Western Conference Finals. Yeah. Right. I get waived because they signed Anthony Carter, legitimate NBA vet. I'm not beating him out. That's just the reality of it. I go to the D League. We win the championship. Average 12-4, 12-4-4. We win the chip. I go to Golden State for summer league. Sit down, barely get playing time. What can I do? Can't do nothing. But I tell you this, what does my resume look like now from what it looked like 2 years prior? Get what I'm saying? To the rest of the world, I'm this close. So now I get better jobs because I'm looked differently as of my experience compared to, what I was looking like before. So I get better job opportunities, better salary, better agent. I go to Australia. I hit the ground running. I played 4 straight seasons there. Year 3, I get MVP of the league. So now you have to reckon as an individual, you have to recognize what your win is. Okay. My win is I'm able to get a career really going at a respectable level internationally. I'm an MVP of one of the most respected leagues in the world right now. I talk a lot. After the game, I am now getting paid to talk about the game. How many players do you know that played international ball after the game is getting paid to talk about the game in a country they were successful in?
Yeah, so I just want to quickly circle back on you playing summer basketball in New York City. You played at Rucker, Dykeman, Hoops in the Sun, Tri-State. Can you just talk about
Kingdom,
yeah,
West Fork,
was everywhere. Like, would you say where was your favorite place? Where was your favorite to play? That you was like, you wound up getting. You always had the same type of energy, but you had like that little extra, like, oh, I'm gonna show out tonight.
To be honest with you, there were no favorites because I needed all of them. I looked at every game as an opportunity to potentially get seen. You have to understand, if you are an unknown, you can't have no favorites. You got to put on everywhere. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand, no one's done this route before. This is an unconventional route all the way. You covered it all. You've seen it all when it comes to the park. Who has gone this route?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? These guys, like Skip, is a playground icon. He did not need the park to become that because he went to Fresno State and got drafted. You understand what I'm saying? Smush didn't need the park. Smush did his work it for them. You know what I'm saying? I needed the park. My point is, they could have bad games in the park. It did not change the trajectory of their college career and pro aspirations. I needed this shit. My life depended on it. That's why I had to approach every game the same. I didn't care if I lost. Listen to me. My mission was not to win. My mission was to put up numbers. Tell me the all-time winningest street ball player ever.
No, it can't. Yeah,
tell me who got the most championships in street ball.
No,
you can't tell me that shit because it's irrelevant.
Yeah, I could just say.
Tell me the story. You can tell me the story about a dude that had 40 or 50 on somebody. Those are the stories that live on forever. Those are the stories that every day, yo, you heard what happened here? You heard what happened here? Give a fuck who won. Who cares about that shit in the big picture? My big picture was not to be a dude that lived on the block that got props just on their block. Yo, my man was this back in the day. Fuck that. That shit ain't nothing. That's short-lived. That shit goes as far as your block, your zip code. After that, nobody fucking knows you. My mentality was different. You know what I'm saying? I knew what my win was.
So I want to, now you win the MVP. You play a few more years all over the place, overseas. When did you decide to say, you know what? The next step for me is, because, for me, I was shocked when I started seeing you call games in Australia. I would go online. So I was like, oh, Corey's he's good. What made you say, you know what? I want to do this and I can do this?
Well, why do you think you were shocked?
Because you love the game so much that I just felt like, you know what? I could see you as a coach. I didn't know you wanted to be behind the scenes. I mean, sorry, in front of calling. I didn't. We never talked about. You know, me and you never talked about you wanting to call games. I was like, you know what? Corey's going to be a coach.
Here's the thing. Coaches get fired. Coaches can't control as much as they may think they can. Coaches can't control their future. You can put a team together if you underachieve. That's it. I'm not talking about NBA coaches. I'm talking about when you're trying to get up in the ranks. You cannot control that. In the situation that I'm in, I can control it. It's just basically I'm giving my opinion based off of my body of work. I'm in this position today.
Can you just talk about real quick, how did you get that job? Like they
reached out to me. NBL reached out to me.
Mm-hmm.
They offered me the position because since I, based off my body of work in this country,
mm-hmm.
They figured that I give my opinion. I'm a natural at it in front of the camera. I give my opinion. I know the game. Talk about the game all the time. And they just figured that I would be a good fit doing this.
No,
I knew at the end of the day, you paying me to talk about a game that I know and love. This is no different. I treat it just like how it is in the barbershop. I don't want to be a coach. I'd rather be a life coach than a basketball coach. I could school you more in life than I could school you more in basketball. Plays, X's and O's. That's a fact. You know, spin the globe, stop it randomly. Chances are I've been there, hung out there, or got paid to do work there playing.
And the great thing, I was gonna say, the great thing is then the NBL becomes this thing that now the world knows about it, where now you're getting more exposure. You're doing Olympic games. Now you're doing things where, like, look at my man, he's shining. Like, how did that feel for you? Like, you're like, whoa, you know, you was preaching NBL and nobody was really paying attention, and then all of a sudden it starts getting this, this big time notoriety. Obviously, LaMelo Ball and RJ Hampton and those guys made it bigger. But like, how do you feel like? Do you feel like that's the second best league behind the NBA?
I feel one, it felt great. Because if it's something that you actually believe in and you see it come to fruition, it's like, I already knew this, but I'm glad that now it's getting the notoriety that I felt that it should deserve. You know what I'm saying? So it was no surprise to me. The Melo factor was huge. Being able to call games, World Cup games, interviewing on the big stage, interviewing players, it was cool. You know what I mean? Like, it was really cool. The best part about the whole thing for me was interviewing Kimba. I think that's when I felt that was like a moment. I thought about, two young brothers that went to Rice. Thought about two young brothers that's from the Bronx. Two West Indian brothers that had a dream and loved the game. I remember Kimba's first game in Rucker Park. We played against them. And my man said, yo, talk to him. He the next one. Like, he was like a junior in Rice. So to fast forward and him being the captain of Team USA, and I'm interviewing him post game after a win and him having a good game, it was just like full circle. Like, look where he's come with all his hard work. Captain of Team USA. That's a whole nother level of being the man at Charlotte at the time. You know what I mean? Just signed a big deal to go to Boston. You are captain of Team USA. That is huge. And that's when it became full circle for me. That was the proud moment for me. Talking to these NBA players, that shit was cool, but it's like they play ball, I play ball. You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing new. The cameras have helped me in playground basketball. That's where I got my education of being comfortable in front of a camera. So it was nothing new to me. I talk a lot about the game. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't about like being nervous or anything. These are things that I felt eventually would happen. I was just happy that it did in the way it did. The NBL it's tied for second in my opinion because you got EuroLeague. We can't disregard that. You get what I'm saying? But NBL, EuroLeague is how I look at what's the best leagues outside of the NBA.
No, one of the funniest things earlier is that you wrote, you would go on Instagram and write stuff about LaMelo, and sometimes I would come back at you. Yeah, we would go back and forth. Like, what type of player do you think he's going to be in the league? And RJ Hampton.
I think RJ Hampton's a lottery pick. He reminds me of, he has the quickness and athleticism like Westbrook. He's multi-positional. I think the best thing that did happen for him, specifically we're talking about him, is that he came to the NBL. There was a lot of ups and downs with his season because of at his position, they had experienced pros there playing. So he couldn't get a lot of playing time consistently like Melo because his team was actually a really good team. You understand? So for him to play the point, they had an experienced one. For him at the two, they had Scottie Hobson. He's the truth. So it was limited playing time for the young player. And they had a coach who was ensuring that he put his best foot forward to ensure the team would go to the playoffs. So, there was times where he struggled to get consistent playing time, but it benefited him. In the right system and on the right team, that's a young superstar in the making. RJ Hampton. I honestly believe that.
And LaMelo?
I'm going to keep it a buck, right? I'm always keeping it a buck. Now, as a New Yorker, we don't care in hype. We don't care what anybody say. We have to see it with our own eyes. That's just how we are. I saw Drew League highlights. All due respect to the Drew League. I don't believe in highlights. Highlights, nobody misses shots. I was already not high on these guys because of how they portrayed LaVar. LaVar talked too much. So it left me already in poor taste for the kids without even seeing this kid play. They came on our show on ESPN, NBL Overtime. I grilled them. I gave him the business. I was not a believer. He plays his first preseason game in Tasmania. They play against the defending champs. They got the Australian Pat Beverly at the point guard spot. The defending champs. His name is Damian Martin. 6-time Defensive Player of the Year. 6-time champion. He just retired. This is the benchmark for point guards. Let's see what you do against this team, the Perth Wildcats, and let's see what you do against Damian Martin. He is the Australian Patrick Beverly. Melo finishes with 19 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals. They win in overtime. They start fully denying him at the end of this game and damn near double teaming him so he couldn't get the ball. After that game, I knew this is a pro. He's the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. 1, this league is world class. 2, what he did against Damian Martin, I've never seen any kid at that age even attempt to do. 3, he's 18 years old. He's 6'7". His ability to do what he does at that young age, you can't teach that. 4, in this league, he averaged 17, 7, and 7. In a world-class professional league, 17, 7, and 7. Tell me a point guard in college right now that can do that. Right now.
Right now, I can't.
You can't name one. Remember, overseas, you're getting 7 assists. You can't dribble. So how accurate the pass got to be, the play has to be made. And that guy got to make the shot, obviously. Get what I'm saying? Now, his last 2 games in the NBL, you know what he had? Back-to-back triple-doubles. The first 18-year-old in the history of this league to ever get a triple-double, but he got back-to-back. That's the only player in the history of this league to do that. How can you do these things in a league like this? He's the only player to do it. And the first triple-double, right? You know who was sitting half court? The GM for Mike Jordan team.
Oh,
he was sitting half court.
Okay.
Object. Half court. And you know who he did it against? He did it against Scott Machado. Shout out to New York, Scott Machado. And on the other end, Scott Machado finished last season with the Lakers.
Yeah.
He finished last year with the Lakers. So what am I telling you? Who did he do it against? Pretty much an NBA player. Now, granted, Scott Machado had 22 and 14. He's supposed to do what he does. This kid is 18 years old doing that. He's number one. We're not going to now let's get into the fact that that's a franchise player written all over him. He's with Rock Nation. 5 million followers on the gram. This is popcorn. He's a movie walking.
He seems like a quiet kid.
He's a kid. He is his age. Okay? Most kids come from broken homes, come from no money, don't know how to act when they get a bag. In between that, no money, broken home, get a bag. There's no development. That's why a lot of these kids go crazy, right? They lose their mind when they get all that money. This kid grew up in money. He drives Lamborghinis, his own. So my point is, off the court, you do not have to worry about him. There's cameras in his face all the time. You don't have to worry about that. He's used to the fame because he's famous before going into the league. He got franchise written all over him. He's a generational point guard. You've never seen a point guard he's like Penny. We ain't seen this in a long time. Now, with all of that, there are things he has to work on, right? Defense. He's gotten better through this season with defense. Before, in the beginning, fucking hopeless. Why was he hopeless? Tell me some kids that's fresh in high school playing AAU on a legitimate team that's going to play pro and be a good lockdown defender. Nobody. They're going to a next level. They shouldn't know how to stop players consistently. They need to show that the willingness to be better on defense. That's what he's shown. Shooting ability. That's what he needs to be consistent at. So, again, that's a willingness to stay in the gym, change your form, and be more confident shooting. He's shooting confidently. You know what I mean? So these are areas that he has to work in. And even when he was missing, he was still letting it go. So that shows he has the confidence. Look at his brother. His brother's shooting range and ability has gotten better. Lonzo.
Yeah.
Exactly. So as long as you got a kid that's 18 showing improvement and willingness to work, what more do you want? Okay, we talk about Wiseman, right? How many games Wiseman played?
3, 4.
Okay, you willing to bet that on him? You willing to bet your job on him?
I mean, the kid has potential. My thing is with LaMelo, you've seen him play more than me. He definitely has to work on his jumper. He's definitely a point guard, though. My thing is where would be the best fit for him? Me, I'm a Knick guy all the way. I just get worried about players coming to New York sometimes because of all the hype, and the fans and stuff like that. But, with a place like Golden State, it'd be perfect for him because he would have Steph there and Clay there to pretty much groom him.
Look, I agree 1,000%. And then on top of it, Team Light Skin comes back into style for real. You have three high yellow brothers at the 1, 2, and 3 position. That'd be unbelievable. But I think he'll land in New York though. I think there's going to be too many factors for him not to land in New York. I think Rock Nation will be a huge factor. I think New York City is a huge factor. Marketing wise, what can happen? Ticket sales, what can happen for this kid and that franchise? And he's a point guard. You need a point guard. Yeah. He's a future franchise player. So I believe he'll land in New York. I agree with you with him in Golden State. That would be unreal. And that takes a lot of pressure off of him because you have, two of the best players alongside you in the NBA. They going down in history. Them Splash Brothers. To play with the Splash Brothers You know how much pressure is over you?
And he could work on, and he could really work on his game. Compared to New York, it'll be hard for him to work in his game. So
I agree.
Yeah. So one of the last things I want to say is, you've had an incredible journey. You've been everywhere. Like, any regrets? And what would you tell a 21-year-old Corey Williams?
I have no regrets. I think that I'm happy where I'm at in my life. I'm happy with all the work that I've put in. I'm happy with, people that I was able to help along the way. I'm happy with how I gave back. I would tell the 21-year-old Corey that this shit it's a long road. There's a lot of sacrifices in it. Somebody really gonna help you. You gotta prove. I would tell the young Corey the same shit I tell myself today. You gotta get up and go get it. Ain't nobody gonna give you shit. Today, the 21-year-old Corey, I would actually feel sorry for the 21-year-old Corey because it's a pandemic. So there's no street ball. What platform? An unknown kid this year coming out of college, I feel extremely sorry for. Because the one thing that I had to lean on, it's not there this summer. So how do you start a career? How do you do it? You know what I'm saying? Everybody's trying to save their asses right now. Who's going to take an unknown right now when you're in a position where you're in the midst of trying to save your ass?
Yeah.
I just tell them, listen, man, I wouldn't know what to tell them right now in this pandemic. I don't know what to tell people right now that got a resume.
So, do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years maybe moving out of Australia and coming, back home, hopefully to announce games for a team or organization? Is that the overall goal, or you're just satisfied out in Australia?
My goal is to be a professional NBA scout. I'll be home before 3 years.
I believe you 100%.
I'll be home before 3 years. I was on a podcast the other day, and the guy said something like, there's some people who can say, well, you're doing your thing, but you in Australia. And I said to them, yeah, I am in Australia. And, I'm doing pretty good. I said, you have to understand that I did not play in the NBA. So everybody that has their seat on those platforms in America are rightfully so. Where is their body of work in America? So they were good enough playing, or good enough, in their field. They have that fan base and the success, and they were able to show that they can transition into exactly what I'm doing, but in America. So rightfully so. They're supposed to be there. Where's my body of work? On foreign soil. So rightfully so, I'm where I'm supposed to be right now. Have I done this before? No. My third season just finished, which means what? This is like me playing all over again. You need your experience. And that's what I'm doing. I'm sharpening up my blade, pushing the league as best as I can, happily, and having a whole lot of fun doing it. This has been a great experience. This run has been fucking incredible. Can't nobody tell me no different, because ain't nobody else done it. Not my run, not my lane. Nobody. So again, you have to understand what your win looks like, appreciate the win, have your vision board, and keep pushing until you execute what your vision ultimately is. And have fun doing it. Bro, I get paid 6 figures to talk for a living about a game that I've played my whole life. How is that not a win? You got to recognize your win.
Yes, fact.
You're not recognizing.
And Australia is a beautiful city.
Come on, it's a beautiful country.
Yeah, beautiful.
And not to mention, the Olympics. I was going to the Olympics to cover 3x3. 3x3 is an Olympic sport now. So myself and Kyle, shout out to Kyle Montgomery, he and I have collabed now for 3x3 to now be the voices of 3x3 for the Olympics in Japan. So I just got my email the other day to confirm that I'm still available for next year when we go to Japan. So now, 3x3 is a cross between street ball and pro. Somewhere in the middle. That's me. So when you look at all of these experts and analysts that cover a sport, their body of work better be official in that lane. Well, we can't question my body of work when it comes to street ball.
No,
we know the vibes with that. You know what I'm saying? So again, find your passion, find your lane, become a pro at it, flourish in that lane, and send the elevator down and give back.
Yo,
4 steps to evolution, B. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
You're right. You're right. I just want to say, Corey, I'll say it again. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it, man.
I've always rooted for you from afar. Ever since
no doubt.
I try to put you on the map a little bit when we had our TV show.
Yeah.
Oh, my thing is like, I respect, somebody who has a passion and is like, and has a never give up attitude. And I've always saw that. And, thank you for coming on for the last hour, and giving us some of that knowledge.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate you having me as always. You already know, man.
So people,
you already know, man. I always appreciate
you. Where can they find you?
Find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, @CHomicide.
And you're very
all day, every day. CoreyWilliams.net. We got the website up, Yeah. I'm not hard to find at all.
I appreciate it. See, so I'll shoot you a text. I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it, bro. Have a good one.
All right, later.